Hey, welcome back, Leveling Up Nation. This is your host and success strategist, Brigham Blackham. I'm so grateful today. We have an amazing opportunity to connect with Sam Rifkin. He's a serial entrepreneur, one of my fellow Gamma men, and I'm so excited because he is the founder and co-founder of Infinite Strength. This is a mastermind, not just about building like strength as far as your muscles, but mental fortitude, mental strength. And today our topic is all about making sure that you have the mind muscle, not just the physical muscle, because you have to have the mindset before you can get the physical jacked and juicy look like this guy. And if you've ever seen any of his Instagram reels, you know, man, he is a perfect example of what it takes to do the work consistently. And he's been doing this for so long that he's got not just systems, but he's got so many different processes that allows you to skip the line, if you will. There's like a fast track to this if you know what to do consistently. And we're going to talk about 4 of those laws today. And MIND is an acronym, so you want to stick with us all the way to the end. I want to introduce Sam Rifkin. Welcome to Leveling Up, my man. How are you?
My man, Brigham. Grateful to be here, man. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, let's give you an opportunity to share a little bit of your origin story. Tell us a little bit about your passion. Why do you do what you do?
Well, you know, one of the first things I say is the only advantage I believe I have when it comes to the mind factor here, when it comes to my fitness, is that somehow, some way, I keep trying to backtrack, is that as a young man, I just thought people should be strong. People should have muscles. People should have health. How is that not a foundation of our everyday life? So from a young age, you know, I got into athletics, I got into the gym, and I just never turned back. Started, you know, researching the protein powders, looking at the biohacks, looking at clean diet all throughout the years since I was about age 13, and I'm age 41 right now, and I've never really stopped.
Awesome. I think it's amazing. You don't just do it for yourself, because I think at the very beginning, we always think, hey, how do I get ripped? How do I make sure I'm strong? You did it for yourself for long enough that you're like, now I can inspire other people.
Yes.
That's part of your passion. Talk to us a little bit about why that's so impactful for you and moving forward, because you have such a great passion behind your videos, behind what it is that you're doing. So inspired.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know, I mean, it sort of happened naturally. You know, I started making gains, bro, and I started getting noticed, and you know, people ask me questions, and I would be grateful for that, because that's how I started. I guess now that I think about another advantage, I don't mind. I would go up to the gym, I go up to people, hey, what are you doing? What is this? I never was shy about that, and I'm always grateful when people come up to me, which really got me to my core value of really understanding. And it was so great to see it reinforced, getting to know Greg Kimple, of we are all examples. And we have a bigger purpose on this life. If you thought you were dropped off on this world, whatever way you think, however, whatever your spirituality is, if you think you were deposited on this earth to just live away, do whatever, you are mistaken. I believe that we are all examples, and it is a duty of ours to set an example for the youth, for other people, to always aim to inspire. Because either which way, when you walk out the front door of your house, you're an example. People are setting eyes on you. They're impressionable people looking at you and thinking, oh, that's a person. I get to just the core value of that all, of where it's a child, seeing you walk around. If a child is living his life walking around, people that are underperforming, and I'm not just saying they're not in the gym, people that are not being their best selves, people that are not trying hard, people that look disheveled, slouching their shoulders, just looking defeated, which is seeing way too much these days. Then a child is, oh, that's what people look like. Okay. Oh, well, all right. But if a child sees some invigorated people with passion, people that take care of their bodies, people that smile, people that engage them, people that have a luster for life, then they know that's what it is about. So you have a child, as opposed to walking around with these people. So that's the core of it all. I think that somehow our brainwaves when we're children see things, and that could have an impact on us. And we might think that's the way to be. So set the right example, plain and simple.
Absolutely. Now, we have 4 main laws that we want to talk about. We've been workshopping this the last week, and I think we have such an awesome framework for all of you guys. As you're listening to this whole call, remember, here's the framework. It's all about mastery, inspiration, non-negotiables, and discipline. So let's first dive in on mastery. When you hear the word mastery, what is the first thing that comes to mind? Why do we have to have this law in place to be able to get mental fortitude, to be strong mentally before we become that beast, that jacked and juicy version of ourselves?
I think you have to dig into your passion. I think you need to really hone in and figure out what your purpose is. And when you have that vision, even if it's not 100%, that's another thing Greg has been quoting a lot from Hugh Zaretsky, my boy.
Yeah.
Even if you're 70% to 80% in, go for it. So if you find a passion in your life, you find something you can get behind, master that. Boom. Dive in, hone in, harness it. Say, wow, you know what? I feel like I'm synchronizing with this topic. So if you are not willing to see what naturally comes into your mind, comes into your passion, comes into your soul, that you want to emit and give to the world, that you want to really work on, then, you are, I think, just a little mistaken. And I think you're going to be wandering, looking for something where you need to just see the signs in the world. You need to see what people have brought to your attention and just really hone in and master something that speaks to your heart.
I love it. Now, I've got a quote for you that always comes top of mind for me when I think about mastery. It says, I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times, by Bruce Lee. What comes to mind with that?
What comes to mind is I love Bruce Lee. I love this quote. He's one of my favorite guys. I love watching the movies. I think that there's so much behind that is just, we can all go and think how we can all be scatterbrained, right? We can all try a million things, jack of all trades, master of none, right? Which is fine to some degree when you have passion for things and you want to try and be experimenting with things. But again, honing in on your craft. Yeah. I have been diving into martial arts, my Muay Thai class for the last 3 years. And our coach says that same thing. Just focus on that jab. If you can perfect that jab cross and get that right, that's power right there, where some people are like, oh, let me get creative and figure this and that out. But I think that the concept of boredom comes to mind. A lot of people need to reframe boredom in their head and really dive in and figure out how to love what they're doing, figure out how to find that focus, figure out how to practice that kick 10,000 times because, I'm bored. Well, who cares? Be bored. Learn how to live in the boredom. Learn how to formulate it in your mindset to make yourself love it. That's something I can't quote exactly where I read it, but it kind of started playing into my concepts and my writing of, if you don't like something or it's a drag or you're not looking forward to it, I don't know, really dig in and try to love it. Make yourself love it. And I don't mean make yourself be miserable, make yourself love it, because there's aspects of things when you really break down something to its core value, you can find something to relate to and some sort of concept that will make you enjoy it. And I've been practicing that myself in my head, because obviously we all have things like, I don't want to do that. So I'm like, hey, how can I love that? How can I figure out to love that? How can I want to practice that one kick 10,000 times?
That's beautiful. One of the things that also pops up for me is masters do the basics better. They don't just focus on the high level, like roundhouse kicks with a flip and then hit someone. They think about, how do I make sure that my jabs, my punches, my low kicks, all of those are precision. So when you're talking about mastering your mindset, mastering your muscle of the mind, what comes to mind with this?
When it comes to mastering the muscle of the mind, I think you have to find your basis of what you can conceptualize, if that makes sense. So again, just talking about training yourself to love something, my battery comes from vitality. Okay.
Yeah.
My battery comes from my weightlifting, my athleticism, my things that I do in the gym. And I can relate that to other aspects of my life and conceptualize it that way. We talk about reps. We talk about, form. We talk about discipline. We talk about playfulness. That's another thing that I bring up is if you're going into the gym bored, switch up your routine. If you're going into the office bored, reformat how you're going to go about your day and accomplish your tasks. If you have the liberty to, obviously sometimes employees have to go and stick to a task, but sorry, I kind of went off on a tangent there. The question.
Oh, you're good. No, I love
Master,
it.
yeah.
Masters do the basics better. And I love how you
Mhm.
brought up there's reps, there's form, there's discipline, there's playfulness. All of these different elements tie into making sure that your foundation is strong so you can build the building of your muscle,
Yes.
building of your strength.
Oh
What
yeah.
else comes
Oh
to
yeah.
mind with that?
Well, it's, actually nowadays relating into my, I'm doing a program by this guy, Judd Leanhard, who's become pretty popular on Instagram. And he does a lot of different movements.
Yeah.
Now when you do them, you realize they're basic and they do end up being, you're like, oh wow, this is working my core and my legs at the same time. Right. But there's also the don't get cute aspect, right?
Yeah.
Find your balance where you're not just trying to go out there and be a guy that's doing some weird random movement just because you are trying to be creative, but you don't know your basis for it.
Yeah.
Make sure that you still are. It's okay to still go do the basic stuff, even though that plays into the balance of the boredom, the balance of getting into the rigmarole of the same thing. Now, sometimes you have to have the discipline and stick to that routine. Other times, when you in your head know that you have been on the road to mastering something, you have put your time in, then you can be playful, but you have to pay your dues. I say that about life in general. You have to pay your debt to the world. You have to pay your dues. You have to give it back. You have to be a good father. You have to be a good friend. You have to share what you've learned and pass it along. You have to make sure you're leaving this world a better place than when you came in. You're setting some sort of foundation. Now, that doesn't mean you got to go speak on stage and inspire every country in the world. That could just mean your family, your aunts and uncles, your friends. People look up to you. People in the world, I believe, they're starving for inspiration and they don't even know it. They might admit it a little bit, but really we all need it. Me, honestly, if I can go to the next topic before coming into the final percent, I was known as the resident hype man of my group. Yeah. I was like, I am inspired. I fought tooth and nail. No, I can do this. I am the one with the inspiration. I got this. I'm good. And I realized I was not playing full out. I realized that even the best of the best of the best of the best, there's nobody at the top. The guy that's on the top, oh, hey, let's just say Tony Robbins, right? No, man. You don't think he has somebody that he talks to, that mentors him, that he sits and says, oh, no, I need to advance to the next level? I feel like I've just unlocked a whole new level. And no matter who you are, master your craft, wherever you are, there's so much more to unlock. Life is a constant unlocking process. Perfection is a goal that is never achieved. It is only the beauty of the journey and going forward to that perfection. That's something that I've been thinking about a lot, is that it's not meant to like get you down. Like, no, you'll never be perfect. No, you can be your version of the concept of perfection, but we're always striving for that. And it's the beauty of the journey to unlock new things. And you get to that level, you unlock new things, you unlock new things, you unlock new things as you continue to progress up the mountaintop. So
that's beautiful.
I think the beauty is in the journey of it all and knowing that you will never achieve the full perfection. Perfection is like if Michael Jordan blocked every single shot, stole every single basketball, scored 200 points, and there was zero stats by the other team. That's perfection, right? You come to Michael Jordan, I'm not the perfect basketball player. He just strove for it and went obviously nuts on it.
I think that's beautiful. I want to tap a little bit into my idea and conceptualization of perfection as well, because for you to seek after perfection, a lot of times we think it's just the lack of having any missteps or failures, but perfection in my mind is it's completion. It's the Greek word teleos. It means complete. It means you finished something. Now you can build on top of it. Oh, I finished this layer of bricks. Now I'm going to do my best to lay this next layer of bricks. In Mandarin, you've got wan mei. Wan is complete and mei is beautiful. It's beautiful because it's finished. You finished your workout. Was every rep perfect? Maybe not, but you did your best to keep on form. That's what perfection is to me. What are your thoughts on that? Perfection being completion.
I love that. I think you can go step by step and you could be grateful for the completion of a certain thing. But I think after completion, we talk turning peaks into valleys, right? I think that you can take that concept itself and say, okay, you've completed that. Now, how can I get on top of that completion? and complete something even better? How can I make that better? I think there's, there's obviously so many ways to phrase things, and it's however it will resonate with you. But I love that. I love that. And that's something that I'm working on in my head, because a lot of what I talk about, it seems that I'm working on is trying not to make sure it's about inspiration and not letting you down. Like, that's not perfect. You didn't do the perfection. No, be inspired. Like, that was great. Now, how can we be better? How can we be better? Yes. I don't want people saying, oh, I thought I did a good job. No way. What I'm saying is, if that makes any sense, is that strive for the perfection, strive to be complete, go one goal at a time, but know that there's always more to do. And the beauty of it all, to me, is that you're breaking through walls. You're breaking through boundaries for other people to realize. You can be that example. You can set it. You can show that you are achieving these things. People know they can go. And then, people work on what? Like, we talk about, planting a tree, doing certain things that you're never going to see in your lifetime. You're just knowing that 300, 400, 500 years down the road, that life will be better. I think we need to live with that in our mind. Beautiful. And know that we're breaking new boundaries. Look at what people were doing the mile run in, right? Like 50 years ago, thinking, I cracked the 6-minute mile. But it's just going to keep getting better and better. And because these people are setting the standard, because as humanity, we're working harder, despite what some people might want to see you make you believe, we are working harder. Our bodies are going, and man, people are going to be running a 3-minute mile one day. It's going to be nuts.
You think about this. We're talking about inspiration for you that just barely came on. Inspiration is not just motivation. I think these are a simple distinction. Motivation really comes from the outside.
Absolutely.
Saying, hey, rah, rah, get it going. You can do this. In Mandarin, it's that dong. Dong is move, and it's G is the opportunity or the reason or the engine behind why you move. Inspiration comes from within. A lot of times when we are inspiring others, we can do that with our words, through our actions. Most of the time, it's through our example. And I think you said something that reminded me of this quote by Lao Tzu. And I wanted to bring this up. So, 胜人者有力, someone that conquers themselves, they have strength or power. 自胜者强, but someone that overcomes themselves, that's might, that's strength, that's integrity. Anytime we can inspire others by us overcoming ourselves and having that inspiration come from within, that's when life is significantly different. And we can inspire people because of who we are, not just what we do. So how do you inspire people based on who you are in your example?
Well, what came up as you're saying all that is a famous Mike Tyson quote where he says, in your mind, it's a jungle up in there and you're all alone. And that is why we need people in our life. That is why, it resonates with me because I can't be inside everybody's head, but I am extremely tough on myself. It's something that I'm working on. Sometimes it's in a positive way where I'm challenging myself. Other times it's like, end of the day, like, what did you do? You didn't accomplish what you needed to do. You should have been functioning at a higher level. You should have been doing this. Oh, did you prioritize your day? How are you going to work on tomorrow? It goes nuts in my head. But so I think that we are having a constant, I want to call it battle with self. I don't want to make that be a negative, but it's like you're having your own inner turmoil, call it like a sparring match. It's friendly. It's like somebody's like, hey, did you do, no, you go here. Oh, no. And figuring it out how you're getting the feng shui, how you're yin and yang and that thing together. And you're actually doing a beautiful, beautiful dance. But, so yeah, I think that again, it's that constant conquering of self that you need to pursue in your life. Conquering others, there's no real glory in that. That's just war, right? But conquering yourself, theoretically, hone in on your skills, be the best person you could be so you could be of service to other people. Because if you're fighting a war in your head all day and you're not coming to terms and you're not working on your inner being, then what the heck are you being to other people? What example are you showing other people? How are you contributing? Really work within, harness your inner self, figure out what gifts you have to provide, work on that inward, give it outward. Beautiful. If that formula makes sense, that's just what comes top to mind there.
No, I love it. Inspiration is not just something that you do once. You
Mhm.
really have to be the example day in, day out. And one of the things we've brought up multiple times is this idea of making sure that you have identified your non-negotiables. What are the things you're going to do, whether somebody sees you or not? That's that integrity piece of saying, this is what my standard is. Here's what my minimums are.
Mhm.
And when we talk about non-negotiables, there are some people that will barely phone it in. And then they're like, well, I didn't quite hit my non-negotiable. You're like, wait, that's not a non-negotiable. Non-negotiable is the floor you never miss. So
Mhm.
for you, what does non-negotiable mean as far as building your mental muscle and also your physical muscles?
You have to set your goals in your head and you have to complete them. You
Mm-hmm.
can't just think that you can weasel around and think that, oh, hey, I'll do this. One of my favorite other quotes is from actually Breaking Bad.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, the character, he says, no half measures, right?
Mm.
And that came from a fact that, long story short, he had an arrest that he should have made. He let somebody off the hook. He got a call a week or two later, and it was no good for that person. He took a half measure. He didn't apprehend the person. He didn't take care of business that he knew he should have, but he said, you know what? We'll let this one go for now. Do things immediately as they come in your head. Act as if somebody is watching you, not in a way that there's so much pressure, but act like a bigger force or somebody that you admire is watching you. That's a thing that I've said since I've joined the Final Percent, where I'm just the small things in life. I say to myself, maybe something that I wouldn't have, just something simple, something I might not have grabbed upstairs. And I say, you know what? Go get that thing upstairs. To all the way to the major things. You have to have your non-negotiable, and every man, every woman has to have a code of how they go about their life. You have to have that willingness to say, I will conquer that goal. I will not wait for tomorrow. I will not put that off. So I believe that you have to have your code. You have to stick to it, because the minute you break that, you start setting a habit. That was something that I love that David Meltzer said at one of our totality events. He said, you stack 2 L's, you just created a habit. So make that non-negotiable, give yourself good habits, and know where your morals are too, right?
Yeah.
Know that I think that a lot of times we get caught in the drift where, let's say you're in a group and somebody's talking to you, they're making you feel comfortable, and all of a sudden they say something really doesn't resonate with you. And you sit there, you find yourself agreeing, where really you need to take a step back and say, nah, man, nah, actually you lost me there.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're giving in to the flow, to the drift of our non-negotiables and letting them slide. And that's something that I've been conscious of in my mind, because it's easy, right? You get lost in the flow, you want to be friendly. Yeah, yes, man. But you need to know when to snap your fingers and say, actually, what I just did there, I just went in the flow, I lost myself, and I agreed with something I don't believe in, and I can't do that.
Yeah.
So I think, to me, non-negotiables is living by a code, making sure you don't break that code for nothing, because when you break that code, you've sacrificed your inner well-being, your inner self, and keeping it real with yourself, with your people, and showing the example of what it is to do things that are non-negotiable within your own code.
That's beautiful. Living by a code, developing that code. And one of the things I've noticed as I've been identifying where are my non-negotiables is sometimes those will be increased as far as a standard. And sometimes you're like, you know what? That belief no longer serves me. This is what I'm doing now, which is a higher leveled up way to think. Because as we increase our awareness, we start to see what we can do, what is in our power. And if we raise our standard, that non-negotiable, that barrier that we have to say, this is my excellence level. This is what I'm willing to do. I don't have to be perfect, but I do want to be excellent in all that I do. That non-negotiable will start to impact how you show up, your example, in all these different facets of your life. One thing you brought up earlier, right before this call, was you said, hey, I don't want to be friends with a there is nothing I can do kind of guy. Talk to me about why you said that. I think that's hilarious, but it's also so true.
I think that even if the good Lord came down and told you that can't be done, I think even then I would say to the Lord, I appreciate that, and you are the all-knowing per se, but I'm still going to live my life as if it can be done. So that's the extreme, right? Where somebody's like, no. Too many times where, I relate it to vitality. Okay. You're going to have that guy that goes to the doctor and they say, hey, you're going to live like this the rest of your life. This is just how it's going to be. They're trained in medicine. We have to understand, right? No, you can conquer that. There are alternative methods. There is a big, wide world of research. There is so many things, and there is so many powers within us. There's so many possibilities with technology in our souls and what our body is capable of that we can conquer things. So if anybody, I just don't think that phrase should even exist when people say, oh, there's nothing I can do. There's always something you can do. Okay. Even in the heat of battle, even if you know you're going down, you always have something you can do. Never accept defeat. Always try, always put forward an effort, because if not, you're just submitting to powers that you might not even fully understand. You're just letting the world defeat you. You're letting somebody tell you, hey, this, that, and the other, and you're not expanding your mind. I think we pigeonhole ourselves into certain experts we might believe in, certain concepts, and we just don't expand our mind to other opportunities. That's the conceptual factor, I believe, with this comment here, because we are just so capable. The world is a wide place full of possibilities. And so if you think there's nothing you can do about something, then there usually is. You just have not researched it. So just say somebody says, there's nothing I could do. Say, yes, there is. No, there's nothing I could do. I can't. They told me this. That, okay, they told you that. Why don't you go talk to somebody else? Why don't you go figure it out? Why don't you go try some other things? Why don't you enlighten your spirit? Why don't you believe in something? So I'm just it comes to keeping your circle too, right? It's a hard thing, right? Where you do the limiting your circle with people that are non-believers, even though they might be great people, keep them around, but you got to advance yourself. You can't have anybody bring you down. You can't be around people that don't think there's anything they can do. You have to be around people that think there's everything they can do. And that's what will fuel you. And that's the circle you keep so you can progress in the world. You can show other people what it is like to progress and show, okay, this is a way of living. This is a code I can follow.
Beautiful. Now, one of the things that I'm inspired by was this idea of when you make an easy choice, that creates hard consequences. And when you make a hard choice, that creates easy consequences. And we get to choose our hard. Earlier, you brought this up, and I was like, oh, I love this quote. Tell us why you say it. I mean, the easy route eventually becomes the hard route. Face your challenges head on, or the detours will multiply. Talk to us the background behind this.
Well, the background of me is in some way, shape, or form, I think we all probably have, because it's all about the lessons we learn. I've lived this, okay? I took some comfort in my business, all right? I probably worked harder than the average person. I'm not going to say I laid back and just, oh, hey, watch this happen. But I was not looking 2 steps ahead. I wasn't living that way, okay? I had my income stream. I had certain things. There'd be times where, in hindsight, I should have been preparing for the next step. I lived on the easy road a little bit, and I wasn't preparing for life, for overall life. And it gave me a little roadblock. So it just comes back to the whole comfort crisis we live in. People get too comfortable, okay?
Yeah.
And a lot of times, like I said before, some of these concepts come about to be real pressurized. Don't be comfortable. Work hard. Keep going. Do everything hard. No, never rest. Never sleep. No. You have to find your balance. You have to find the way you're preaching this to other people, and know that, to me, comfort is something that is in the earned category. Okay. If you want to have your comforts, if you want to do your things, make sure you're getting out of your comfort zone. Make sure you're working hard. Make sure that if you want to provide comfort for your family, for yourself, that you're putting yourself in hard situations. Because if you're not putting yourself in hard situations, you're not preparing yourself for life, because life is not easy any which way you put it. So if you're along that easy road, in my thinking, you are a disaster is on the way, you know? And that's even something that really sticks out that our boy Chris Weichman talks about. What does he say? There's at least 5 things coming You don't know when they're coming, but they will. And you need to be prepared for those things that you wish would never happen, but certainly can happen. Because one of the concepts I use with this is that hopefully you're lucky enough to get a lot of your hardships out of the way at a younger age. I think of the person that's been walking that easy road, and somehow, some way, I mean, this doesn't seem to happen in the normal order of events, but somehow, some way has been on easy street till age 50. Okay. Maybe they've been coddled. Maybe they've had everything handed to them. Maybe they've just had this magical journey where nothing's rained down upon them. And then imagine at age 50, you experience this hardship, whether it's financial, loss of a loved one, just something happening in your life where that traumatized you, and you're age 50 and you have no reference point in 50 years of life of what it's like to travel the hard road, to experience a hardship, to have something really bad happen to you. You are like, what the heck? Oh my Lord. You might crumble. It might be the end of you. So another thing I talk about, and I'm going on a lot of tangents, is how you can emulate hardship in your life. Look, I've learned a lot. I grew up, I love hip hop. I love rap, underground rap, street rap. I love it. I'm from New Jersey. Okay. And obviously some of the things that are said there, yeah, okay, not great moral value. But what I did learn was the crazy stories they went through. I love the stories. I love the things that they had to overcome. The fact that they were able to make it out alive of certain situations, whether it was violence, whether it was being on the streets, whether just anything, right? That how do you emulate that if you didn't grow up like that? Certainly you don't want to just plant yourself in a hard neighborhood, in a hard situation, put yourself in the middle of where bombs are landing, put yourself in the middle where there's violence that you might get robbed. You don't want to do that. Come on, let's use our brains. But how do you emulate that? And that's a question I ask the people that have been through those things. And the answer is always do hard things. We all need to do hard things. If you're only striving for the easy things, you're not learning anything about yourself. You're not prepping yourself for the future. You're not preparing people you need to take care of for how to advise them. And I've seen it too many times. It's a depressing thing, but I've seen and talked to people that you can tell they don't want that. They want easy route all day. And if you're not testing yourself, you're not ready. And the more you test yourself, the more comfortable you can be in any time. You're raising the peaks and the valleys. You're raising that level where somebody's here and this situation strikes here. You're building yourself up where you're here. And okay, that's a little more manageable. Prepare yourself to manage a hard situation.
Beautiful. I think that type of preparation really comes down to your discipline, comes down to what is it you're doing consistently on a daily, weekly process and basis of saying, this is what I do no matter what. So your non-negotiables, so key. I mean, you are such a great example of meal prep. You're such a great example of making sure you hit your workouts. You've been doing it for literally years, not like months. There's not a 3 or 6 month program that builds a body like that or a mind like that. So you've been consistently pushing those hard things on yourself intentionally. You're choosing the hard. One of the things you brought up earlier that I thought was phenomenal, and I wanted to highlight here before we move on to this last thing, and it really comes down to making sure that we don't make crappy deals with ourselves. Because like, who are we negotiating with? Like, we are negotiating with ourselves if we negotiate on those non-negotiables. So stop trying to make weak deals with ourselves. Tell me about that, because that struck a chord with me. I thought that was beautiful. I want to make sure we hit that point.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it goes back to the most simple thing that's cliche, right? Is set the bar high. Set the bar low. You're making easy accomplishments seem like amazing feats, and they're not. I can relate it to the human body. Okay, for example, what I'm going through right now. So I have in my head, I believe with working out and relating to regular life that you should not be a slave to a program. I think too many people, they need their workout program. If they don't have that program, they go into the gym and they're lost. They're lost. They haven't trained themselves to know their body. So I always say, know thyself, know your body. You've been living in it your whole life. Get familiar with it. Okay. So for example, I'm doing this again, this Judd Leanhard program. This guy does like some leg stuff every day. And if I didn't have that program, so this is the reverse of what I'm saying. So I had to do a program after me and my creativity. I had to get a program to learn this. He's doing legs every day, where if I didn't have that program, I would say, clearly not a leg day today. Okay, I'm not, but he's got me doing these jump band things every day, doing this and that, So that made me think maybe I'm making a weak deal with myself. Oh, my legs are tired. Oh, this, that, and the other. When, I went and played basketball for Bernard's birthday with Greg and the crew, we all surprised him. It was amazing. I wish you lived closer, man. You would have been right in there. I got the ball. I got the ball with you. But being around that community, I would have made a weak deal with myself and maybe been like, that's enough of the game. But because everybody was there fueling each other, we played that many more games. Not to mention, going into that game, my leg was hurting. And I was thinking, but you know what? It loosened up. It all goes back to, you need to know your body, because there's times, okay, wow, my ankle's broken. I can't walk on it. Yeah. Maybe stop. Okay. But there are times I've been on hikes. There are times I've been in the gym. There are times I've been anywhere where I've had these little hurts. And I know that I walk it off, I figure it out, I diagnose it, and I say, okay, I'm good. And that was one of those moments. Don't make a weak deal with yourself and think that one little piece of adversity, one small injury, I'm done. Little pain in the knee. Oh, this thing, I called the guy, he didn't want the deal. It's done. You're making a weak deal with yourself. You need to progress further. You need to understand your limits. You need to push. You need to not accept some crappy barrier in your way. Understand your limits. Understand what's going on. Know your mind, know your body, know your environment, and don't make a weak deal with yourself thinking that's it.
Beautiful. I'm so glad we made time for that, because this is one of the elements of non-negotiables that I think everyone needs to have that. So thank you for sharing that insight.
Absolutely.
Now, when we're talking about discipline, this was a quote that I came up with that I think will really wrap this conversation up really well about our mind muscle. Discipline shares its root with disciple. So who or what are you following? Your future is forged by the righteous routines and daily disciplines that you choose to be devoted to. Let's talk about this. What are your righteous routines, your daily disciplines, and your discipline, or the things that you choose to ascribe to, those people that you choose to follow? Because a disciple does not get forced to follow. That's a prisoner. A disciple is someone that intentionally says, you know what, this is who I follow, and this is why. And then they follow tight behind. They say, you got 3 steps ahead of me. I'm going to be taking those immediately the same way. And you don't get friction to those mentors. So let's talk about how discipline is so essential for building that mind muscle.
I love that. I never really put that together. Discipline and disciple. That's amazing. One thing that comes to mind that I was thinking when I had the discipline part of this is there's different elements to your body. There's different elements to your life. I always talk about finding the balance between the human mind, the human spirit, and the human body. For example, ideally we should sleep 7 to 8 hours a night, right? Not many people are able to do that, okay?
Right.
When you have a family, when you're an entrepreneur, when you want to make time with your wife, when you want to be available for a friend, when you have so many things to do and you're really trying to live life to the fullest and go the final percent, right? So it's like, for me, I know I sleep about, it's like 6.5 hours. I wish I could get 7.5. But if I am not doing that, I'm not able to spend quality time with my wife at night. I am feeling rushed in the night. Oh, I got to get to bed. Oh, I got to get up. So having the discipline to map out your life appropriately, having the discipline to know that you're going to have to make a sacrifice. Like some people, oh no, I need my 8 hours. Okay. That's great. If you have your life balanced out, that's amazing. Show me that, please. Okay. But having that discipline to really make sacrifices and figure out who you are, having the discipline to not be a complete follower and understand your way of going about things. I actually had that recently go on. I forget where it was, but I was looking up to somebody and I was going into a situation and I was thinking, oh, they do this. Okay, yeah, let's do this. Okay. Then I said, wait, no, that's them. I'm not that person. That's a great guideline. They're a great person, but that's not me. I am my one of one, and I'm going to do it this way because it didn't resonate. And I've gone into situations like that before where I haven't had the discipline to think for myself as far as, okay, I'm following this person's guideline. But yeah, just finding your own version of things and having the courage to do it your own way and not just following these guidelines, having the discipline to follow your version of a routine, not just the discipline to go step by step, but having the discipline to know yourself, know your characteristics inside and out, and go about it your way. Make your own version of life, forge your own path, and not just say, I'm disciplined, I have to go like this. Nah, man, there's zigs and zags. Be prepared to handle that and have the discipline to be flexible, be malleable. You know, that's why it's funny because like with this whole thing of me being fueled by vitality, all the concepts relate to regular life, right? Because if you go boom, 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 step by step, years and years and years and years, then guess what? Oh, something changed. Oh man, I don't know what step to take. And everything I talk about, I might say it's a concept, but it's all happened to me. Everything that I express is something in my life because I've been that person. That is a challenge I've had. I've had a challenge where I can't, like, I give my wife credit. She's fantastic in chaos. She is able to, okay, with it, she changes it in a second. Me, I'm like, okay, I have to dial back for a bit because I am a little OCD-ish, you know. I am, you know, step by step, but I'm getting better. And I realize that challenge in my head and I attack it. Again, don't take the easy route. Oh, you don't like organization? Hey, guess what? Make a mess every once in a while and learn how to clean it up because it's going to happen. Practice it, you know, practice hard things. That's why I love Gamma Group too, man. That is pushing our limits. We're doing things. We're getting out of order. We're learning how to lead and to follow. So yeah, just having the discipline, not just to go by that straight line vision and stick to a plan, but the discipline to challenge yourself to be in the midst of chaos and clean it up.
Beautiful. One of the things that I've heard Greg say is don't scale chaos. And I think that's really important that when we're in the midst of chaos, we figure out, how do I get back to order? But we have to embrace those challenges and those difficult moments. You don't need to stay there if it doesn't serve you, though. There are some challenges that people choose that are not serving them. Like you don't have to go to the birthday party that is going to have drugs and alcohol and things that are going to make it so you can't live your best self. You can say, hey, you know what? I'm going to take a rain check. Thank you for the invite. I really appreciate it. And you can choose to do something else with your time. If those associations are kind of like that low vibration energy vampire person we were talking about earlier, it is so important to make sure that you protect your time and you guard yourself.
It's like somebody that does marathons and again, that balance between human spirit and the human body. There are some people that are being martyrs, and I appreciate them, okay? That they run, you know what? There's a guy I forget the thing. He's running an ungodly amount of miles within a certain amount of time. He's not saying that's good for my body. He's saying that's good for my spirit. I am challenging and showing people what they are capable of. Now, the normal person, again, living in that chaos, like you said, maybe shouldn't run a marathon every day because they have other priorities. Now, this person, though, is a special person, and that is their goal in life, and they are showing that example, and they are an inspiration, and we should appreciate that and give them the respect they deserve. But that might be chaotic for you. Situational things, there's certain people for each job, inspiration to be found from all different facets of challenges and people that take on certain things. We are all unique, and there's certain people that do certain stuff. There's a guy that will sit still for 48 hours and not eat or drink. Just show you that, oh, that can be done. He can sit still for that long. There was a guy, I forget how long he did this. I learned this from a book that he went in a cave in darkness and didn't come out for, it was like years. I'm going to come back to you on that one, Brigham. I'll let you know. But they're doing their role. They're doing their role to show you what they're capable of. But that might be chaos for you. Don't try that. You might be go nuts if you're in a cave for 2 days.
Yeah, for sure. So really deciding what you want to be disciplined in.
Yes.
The more choice that we have in the matter and the more focus that we say, this is the life by design that I want. And we find those that we want to model and mimic. And then we don't just blindly follow. That's what I'm gathering from what you're saying.
Yes.
Sam,
Yeah.
is you say, you know what? That's the result I want. This is a person that has it. I'm going to model and mimic the things that match my values.
Yeah.
And then you
be
make it your own.
I'm not let's relate it to marathon. I am not a marathon kind of guy. I model my fitness after linebacker build. I want to be big and strong, but be able to be fast and cover a wide receiver if I have to. However, I might run a marathon, at least one, because I want to test my spirit. I want to show my limit. I want to do it, but it won't be my end all be all. Mm-hmm. Experiment, do things, try things, don't rule them out. Say, that's not for me. I don't want that discipline. Try it all if it makes sense and it's not evil.
Yeah. One of the things you brought up yesterday, I think is really important with this discipline idea is tapping into who you are and what you want out of life. So I'm an athlete. I grew up doing sports. I very good at pickleball. I have dynamic ability to tumble and to do different things like that. As a cheerleader in college, I loved it. And all of these different elements of my personality, I can bring into my physicality now. You don't have to give up being an athlete because you no longer are on that team. No. I thought that was really inspiring. So thank you for that. And I love how inspiring you are, not just by what you say, but by what you do. And to wrap this up, where can we send people to connect more with what we're doing specifically in the Final Percent? Go ahead.
Well, look, obviously, for those who have been listening to Brigham's podcast for a while, you know what we're a part of, Final Percent. If you think you didn't need personal growth, you're most likely wrong, because I was the number one guy that didn't think I needed it. And I honestly, I went from not thinking I need it to it's becoming my full-time endeavor. I've dove in all the way. I've been blessed by Greg Kimball to be able to have my own mastermind, to be a leader in Gamma Group right away. I'm so honored, and I will not let any of my brothers down and my sisters down. I promise you. What we're doing right now, my mastermind is called Infinite Strength. We are just getting started. Again, I am not a personal trainer. Okay. I am not a dietitian. I am not a fitness class leader. What I am is somebody that's done that forever and here to help guide on the journey. I don't consider myself a personal trainer. What I want to be is a person trainer. I want to show how that reflects. Now, it's funny. We talked about this, Brigham, like the people that, like myself, let's say, that have a lot of experience in the gym. We're not teaching you in our personal growth sector to be the gym person. We want to show you to be the gym person for what it can do for your mind, for what it can do for your community. And I feel like that's the reverse too. You can harness, if somebody's just a great community member, somebody's a great businessman, they can channel that, and that will fuel to be more of a gym person. So really I'm trying to create you into a better person, show you have this athlete in you, show you that you have this beast. We have a primal nature, man, woman, child. We are animals at the core. Release that inner animal. Let it be your vitality. Release that energy and show how it can reflect on the rest of your life. That's what I want to do with Infinite Strength. We're going to talk about health. We're going to talk about fitness, sure, but we're going to manage your calendar. We're going to show what example you need to be in the world. We're going to show how you can be a better mother and father. We're going to show how you can make time for your business. We're going to show you how we're going to make a mathematical equation about how you're going to add 33 more years on your life. If your life expectancy was 70, no, it's 103 now because you're getting on my plan. My thing is, I've been saying to us, this is easy. Okay. Sign up with me and I won't let you down. You will have me to be accountable to. It's not scary. I'm a lover. Okay. I come across intense. I'm a big teddy bear. I promise you.
You're like that big Hulk character that he's like, and then at the gym all big, and then gives the taco.
Me and Greg resonate with that, where you got that image of the Hulk being like Hulk smash, but really then he's walking around, he's giving He's giving Ant-Man a taco. Here you go, buddy. So, yeah, to me, there's no way to let you down. You have me to be accountable to. I will be sharing all my biohacks, all my health stuff. You will have my phone number. You'll be able to contact me. And I guarantee you, if you give me the opportunity, we will change your life and you will be a part of a community that's like no other. And this is my dream. What I've said before with the final percent has allowed me to do in this realm is I've always been myself. Okay. I've been myself. I haven't apologized for it. I've been unique, but now I'm able to be my full self. I have a community of great support and just really release that the rest of me where I could be my full self. I can finally expedite my debt payment I have to society of making this world a better place, of giving back and really harnessing on what I think my strengths are so that I can help others, show what I've learned, and just really change lives, man. And I'm so excited. I'm able to live my dream. And yeah, just reach out to me. And I would love to, we're just getting started here.
We are. So thank you so much, Sam. It's been a wonderful conversation, really diving in and understanding what mastery, inspiration, non-negotiables, and discipline can do for you. Guys, if you missed a little portion of this, go back to the beginning because this is an essential conversation to build that mind muscle. Thank you so much, Sam, for all that you do, all that you are. And guys, keep going the final percent in your life. Leveling up is not just a concept, it is a decision. And just like that idea of a disciple, we get to decide how we want to live our lives and who we want to be. So today, I hope you choose to level up your life. Connect with Sam more through Infinite Serve and through the Final Percent Network. God bless, guys. Take care.
Thank you, Rick.
Hey.